So as I'm sure you've all heard, Russell Westbrook has been traded to the Washington Wizards for John Wall and a 2023 first round pick. And as a whole, this isn't really a surprising trade, as Westbrook requested a trade and then a few days later John Wall also requested a trade. Now there are a lot of aspects to this though, so I'm going to go through it point by point. And first of all, just going to be starting with the trade value of John Wall and the trade value of Russell Westbrook. And both John Wall and Russell Westbrook have exceedingly expensive contracts, with Westbrook's being just over $41 million and John Wall's being at $40.8 million a year. This currently makes Westbrook the third highest paid player in the NBA and John Wall the fourth, which is insane to me. This makes the trade value for both of them equally poor, and I think that's the main reason they've been traded for each other. And as I just said, Westbrook obviously wanted out of Houston and no other team would take him other than the Wizards. The reason for John Wall requesting a trade does surprise me a bit though, as he said that he wasn't happy that they were more focused on building around Bradley Beal instead of John Wall. But with him being out for almost 2 full seasons, you can't blame the Wizards for building around Beal instead. Beal has shown he's an all-star caliber guard for the past 4 seasons, with him averaging 25 points a game, 4.8 assists and 37% from 3. How Beal wasn't an all-star this past season is beyond me, as he averaged over 30 points a game, but then again the Wizards did finish 10th in the Eastern Conference. And next I'm just going to talk about their play styles, and if you didn't already know, they play pretty similarly. They're both extremely fast players, and at their primes had around a 40-inch vertical. With all the time off that John Wall has had though, I'm unsure if he'll be as athletic as he used to be. Westbrook though is still super athletic, to be fair to him. Probably both of their biggest weaknesses though is their 3-point shooting ability. Westbrook's a career 30% and Wall is a career 32% from downtown. They both still play like old school point guards and haven't adjusted well to the modern NBA. Where they are great though is their ball handling and passing. They are 2 of the best passing guards in the league, and you can't really deny that. Wall has averaged 9.2 assists per game for his career and Westbrook 8.3 a game. But recently, Westbrook's been even better, as for the past 5 seasons he's averaged 9.9 assists a game. And they're both elite ball handlers too, with very shifty handles who in transition and going to the basket are extremely hard to guard. And now I'm going to talk about what they can actually add to the team that they're being traded to. For Westbrook going to the Wizards, this is quite an easy one, as for the past 2 seasons they haven't had a solid point guard. Westbrook should bring a lot of veteran leadership to the Wizards and be the point guard that they've been looking for. He should also be able to take a lot of the pressure off Bradley Beal, as he won't have to be the go-to scorer anymore. The duo of Bradley Beal and Westbrook could actually be quite deadly as well. You see, Harden and Westbrook didn't play that well together because they are both very ball-centric guards, and neither of them can really play off the ball, whereas Bradley Beal is a true shooting guard and will let Westbrook bring the ball up the court and do what he does best, attacking the basket. So Beal and Westbrook could bring some life back to the Wizards after being a below average team for some time now. And for John Wall going to the Rockets, what can he do there? Well, at this point it's hard to tell, as we're still unsure as to where James Harden is going to be when free agency ends. With this trade now going through though, I think Harden is even more likely to want to leave, as Wall is another ball dominant guard, and it's unlikely they'll play well together. So I'm just going to assume that Harden won't be in Houston by the time the season starts. So at this point in time, John Wall will have to be the go-to man for the Houston Rockets, and honestly, I'm unsure if he'll be able to lead an NBA team with how much time off he's had. He could just be an average NBA point guard for all we know. What will be interesting though, is who the Rockets will try and pair up to play with John Wall. As for most of his career, he played with Marcin Gortat at his centre, and Gortat was a very average centre to say the least, so it'll be interesting to see if they trade for a more elite centre or whether they stick with their small ball lineup. John Wall is very good at creating his own opportunities though, and setting up his teammates for open shots too. I think the Rockets will try and keep hold of Eric Gordon and PJ Tucker for this reason, as they're their best catch and shoot 3-point shooters. And then finally, let's discuss who I think won the trade. And this really depends on how close to his old level that John Wall plays at, because if he plays like all-star John Wall, then I'd say this is a pretty even trade, or the Houstons have won it. But as of right now, I'd say the Wizards won the trade, as they've gone from having no star point guard to having Russell Westbrook. And then in another sense, both the teams have won, as John Wall and Westbrook wanted to leave their respective teams. But for me, it just can't be ignored how expensive their contracts are, because once a contract in the NBA is signed, that player is owed that amount no matter what team they're playing on. And obviously, all NBA owners are pretty smart, and none of them want to take on either of their contracts. So this is the only trade that was really possible for either of them. That being said, this isn't really that big of a trade as people are making out to be. Neither of these teams will contend for the title, and John Wall and Westbrook are both pretty similar players. What is big news though to me is Anthony Davis re-signing with the Los Angeles Lakers. However, I'll talk more about this in my next video, which will probably be tomorrow night or maybe the night after that. So if you're interested in seeing that, be sure to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so it'll tell you exactly when I upload it. And then as always, thank you so much for watching to the end of the video, and I'll see you on my next one.